Hey everyone, I'm Andrew Parsons, and today I'm going to be talking about magazine cover lighting and how you can set up your studio to get the look. For this project, I chose 4 different magazine covers that stood out to me. Each one has its own unique lighting scenario, and there were some fun challenges to work through in terms of props and styling to try to recreate some of these elements. The first cover we recreated features Zendaya, originally photographed by Malijan Carter. For this setup, I had one key light with a large, soft umbrella lifted up off to the left of Jasmyne. To the right of Jasmyne, there was a white V-flat, and up behind Jasmyne, angled up high towards the ceiling, was a bare bulb to give some fill. I don't think that light really did anything, but it might have helped to give a little extra light to the backdrop. The hardest part about recreating this was getting the posing to look right, and getting the tinsel arranged. We altered the pose to fit our set since we didn't have as much orange fabric to use or a platform for Jasmyne to sit on. What I love about this project is you can make something out of nothing. The dress was made out of tinsel, and we got the fabric from a craft store. I jerry-rigged Jasmyne's platform by putting together 2 stools. It just shows how you really don't need a huge budget or fancy materials to make something beautiful. So here's the original image, again on the left, and here's our final version. The cropping is different. I felt that our image looked stronger when you couldn't see the bottom of the tinsel and the fabric on the ground. To get the full effect, we would have needed more materials. Also, the texture you see on the background was added in Photoshop using some texture and grain layers, as well as some creative brushes. Overall, I think we did a good job capturing the mood and essence of the photo. The second cover we chose was this shot featuring Willow Smith, photographed by Phil Pointer for Garage Magazine. What initially stood out to me was the strong shadows framing Willow's face. I knew that I could try to get that look by using a small light source with more light fall off, and by bringing in 2 black V-flats super close on either side of Jasmyne to enhance the shadows. There was just one main light for this shot, directly above Jasmyne and straight on towards her face. There was a small 3-foot octabox on the light. I think this modifier could have been even smaller, like a 2-foot octa, and a grid would have also helped. Here's the original, and here's our version. One thing that I'll say is that I did still have to enhance these shadows around the face in Photoshop. And a lot of what makes this image look like the original is the color toning and effects that are being used here. If you want to see a before and after showing everything I did in Photoshop to these images, that will be in a separate video. Overall, I love this shot. The makeup looks so good, and the fake nose ring was the perfect accessory to get the look. The third cover was originally captured by Nico Bustos for Harper's Bazaar. I love the graphic black and white look and the texture in this shot. I knew we'd be able to recreate this with some super thick yarn. Kim was able to pull together a ton of the yarn off Amazon, and it wasn't too expensive either. Boy, was it difficult to braid such long pieces. We quickly learned that we should just make shorter braids and pin them together versus trying to create one super long braid. For this shot, I used the same one light setup as the last shot, but moved the light off to the right of Jasmyne and angled down more so that the light would be a little more dramatic. I wanted to make sure that the light on the braids would look dynamic enough to really bring out the texture, so we played around with positioning the light higher up and further to the side of Jasmyne to see how that would change things. Overall, I really love how this one turned out. The gray of the yarn was kind of right in the middle of not being too dark or too light, so in Photoshop I pushed it to be lighter so the contrast would be better for the overall image. The last cover we chose features Zoe Kravitz, photographed by Steven Meisel. I love how simple and beautiful this cover is, and how it's really about that big orange pop of color. For this shot, we took the orange fabric from the first look and tied it around Jasmyne to make a top. Then we took another piece and bunched it together to make this puffy sleeve shape, and I just played around with it a bit until it looked right. One thing I was making sure to do was to get the orange sleeve in the right position, covering part of her face, and making sure Jasmyne's head and arm were angled in a similar way to Zoe's. The lighting in this shot used the same 3-foot octobox, this time positioned off to the left of Jasmyne. Back behind Jasmyne, we had a bare bulb shooting straight at the wall at a high power so that the background would look completely white. Off to the right was a black V-flat to give some more dimensional shadow to Jasmyne's face. I also had a silver gold mixed tone reflector below Jasmyne's face to give another catch light in her eyes. One thing I realized about this setup after the fact was that I could have positioned the light on the background a little bit better so that there wouldn't be so much light spilling onto Jasmyne's face from behind. Here's the original image on the left and our final shot. I really love how this turned out. After I shifted the color and smoothed it out a bit, the sleeve looked perfect. You can see that the catchlights in Zoe's eyes look different from our shot. I'm not sure if that's due to Photoshop or the type of lights that were used, but overall the idea is the same. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as we enjoyed making it. Let us know which of these 4 looks was your favorite, and we're looking forward to making more of these kinds of videos soon. Thanks for watching!